A rage boner.
Do not channel your...
Hey, thanks for coming. Come on in. Do you want a beer?
And we're going to start winning again.
Welcome to the Midwest Sense Podcast, where we make sense of it all. Brutally. I'm your host, Andrew, and we're here to give you a voice. Are you sick of the Midwest being ignored? Are you tired of middle America having no voice? Obviously, we need another podcast with a bunch of white dudes giving hot takes from the flyover states. I think you found your new home. Hide your kids and maybe the wife. Grab that beer. You're gonna need it, and join us. Solving all the world's problems is gonna be a group project.
Live from Beyond Good Reason Studio.
You can find us at themidwestsense.com. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instant Grandma, Twitter, TikTok. Give us a follow, a like, a subscribe, a tickle, a slap, and whatever else people are doing online. We'll be coming out with a new episode every week, live from Beyond Good Reason Studio. Welcome back, my hindsight heroes, to the first Friday of May. May 3rd. Wow. Welcome back to the Beyond Good Reason Studio. We have another Friday edition of Midwest Sense. A sober edition. The entire month. That's the goal. We're leaving the booze at the door. The bourbon, the tripels, the IPAs, the double IPAs, the dippas. Leaving them at the door for 30 days.
I'll leave it longer than 30 days.
They're going to get lonely out there.
I'm already lonely, and we're only on day 3.
Yuck.
I have a theory. Maybe our news anchor, Jaime Smith, can look this up. When did the world really start to fall apart? Did the world start falling apart when Twitter started allowing more than 140 characters?
When did they do that? Was that...
That was a couple of years ago, at least.
I don't know.
Was it in
my guess is that
2020?
that's when it all started. That's when everyone got a soapbox. Everyone got to say whatever they wanted.
Wasn't that
for
what
however
Facebook
long they
originally
wanted.
was, though?
Yeah, and that Facebook is for boomers.
Not originally.
Today in the Beyond Good Reason Studio, we have with us the miserable Minnesotan Ben. Ben, thanks for being here.
Always. It's good to be here.
And we can find you.
You can find me on YouTube at The Miserable Minnesotan. Vikings have a new team. It's a very Vikings-based podcast, or not podcast, but YouTube channel, highlighting all of our misery, past, present, and future.
I don't know if you noticed, we started following you.
It's about time,
We
gentlemen.
subscribed. So, yeah.
Try to teach you a
We're
few
on that
things.
miserable Minnesotan train now.
But I'm very happy today. It's my son's birthday. I got to go to the zoo and skip work, so we're good.
We need a... I don't know. I don't have a happy birthday one. We should get a happy birthday one.
Yeah,
I don't got a happy birthday one.
I'm not going to sing.
You went to the where?
The zoo.
Farm animals. That's about as good as it gets here in the Midwest.
Okay, one last thing.
Traditions.
There was a chicken, but it wasn't at the zoo. It was inside somene's home in St. Paul that we saw.
There we go.
'Cause,
There we go.
Urban farming, I guess.
Can't have chicken in the
Urban
yard, have it in the
farming.
house.
It was literally in the house with the dog.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Ben. Thanks for being here. That other beautiful voice that you hear,
That's me.
Uncle Bustin. Thank
Howdy,
you.
folks.
Thank you for being here. How you doing? Where do we find you?
You can look for my coming at first light on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east.
Oh.
The words of the notorious Sir Ian McKellen.
Actually, at dawn.
Dawn.
He also said you could
to
look
the
for
east.
I'm looking for his coming. At dawn. I don't know where that one is.
That's all right.
Anyways, I am your host, Andrew. Welcome. Welcome to the Midwest Sense.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks,
Trying to be positive.
He's had a bad day.
It's been a crap day. I I don't know. I've never really experienced this before, and I only have one guess as to why, but I immediately woke up in a mood, knowing I was in a mood. And I've never, I mean, you just wake up, for guys at least, you just wake up and you go about your day. I've never woken up and been like, I could break a window right now.
It's like a What Women Want situation where you're like Mel Gibson in a woman's body. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, maybe.
I'm sorry.
It could be.
Because when you wake up in a mood and you don't know why, that's something else.
That's the only way I can relate it. Try to make it relatable is like that. Maybe that's what
hormone imbalance.
Maybe that's what women feel like.
Yeah.
My point.
My only guess is I've been having these weird dreams, and it's been a while since I've had like vivid, intense dreams. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I've had multiple a night. And last night, my dream was that living at this house kind of out in the boonies, and I parked my car out on the street right next to the driveway, and I'm bringing stuff inside from my truck, and I see there's like a little parking lot right on the side of the road, kind of like when you see those trail entrances. You know, you'll have like 5 or 6 or 7 parking spots right on the side of a road just randomly, but there's a bike trail or there's a walking path or something, or it walks down underneath a bridge and there's paths under there. It's kind of what it was like. And there was a white sedan sitting there full of, whatever, Gen Z kids, probably pissed at my take on the last podcast. That's probably why they're sitting out there.
They're waiting for you.
Yeah, and so I'm bringing stuff in from the truck.
In a white Bronco.
Yeah, thankfully not the white Bronco. And I come out, and all of a sudden, and you know how in dreams you just know things, even though you didn't physically see it, you just know. I come out and the car's gone. My truck's gone, and their car's gone. So I knew, like, the kids stole my truck, and I know where they live. I know that they got a big barn they put it in, and the dream's taken off of how I know what they're doing to my truck. And in the truck, I've got all my bags, my tool bags, and my guns in there. And so now it's all a whole big mess of things. And then fast forward, my wife comes to me. She's like, "Hey, I got your truck back." And I'm in the backyard at this point. And I'm like, "What? There's no way those kids just gave you my truck back." So I walk around the house, and parked in the driveway is a very metallic, orange metallic Nissan Murano. And I just lose it. I lose it. And I lose it for 2 reasons. One, because she's walking away thinking like this is a win, right? Like I got a win. I got my husband's truck back. And 2, the Nissan Murano compared to my Lexus is not a win. Okay, this is not a win.
That's a downgrade.
And so I woke up, and the whole day I've just been ticked off.
I'm just
like I don't know why, and that's it. The only thing I can attribute it to is the stupid dream of my.
Did you tell her about
poor
the dream?
Lexus GX truck gets
He
stolen?
didn't. I guarantee he didn't tell her about it.
Yeah,
he was
probably
just in a
mad at
bitchy
her.
mood at her all day, and she didn't know why. And this is exactly like when women have dreams.
That's what I'm saying.
That their guy cheats on them in a
Exactly.
dream.
That's exactly what I was
Literally,
thinking.
I imagine Andrew
Where they
woke up
wake
this
up,
morning, rolled over, smacked her with the pillow, and then went about his day without saying another word to her.
That's what you get
She's
for
like, "What did I
confusing
do?"
my beautiful ride for a crappy Nissan.
Hey, the Nissan probably gets better gas mileage.
I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't
I had
even
one. It
care.
lasted about 2 months. Nissan Murano. I'm not even kidding. It died in like a matter of months.
You guys seen the Nissan Altima memes? It's like it's Altima season.
No, I haven't.
It's just like pictures of the crappiest.
I heard
most
on average-
beat up Altimas, because that's what like terrible women drivers in their early 20s drive, and they're always like packed to the gills with garbage,
Bouncing off of curbs.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Starbucks plastic cups in the driver's
Yeah.
seat. Well, I've heard those cars on average don't even make it to like 100,000 miles. I find that hard to believe, but they were one of these cars I saw on a video where they're the most likely to break down. Like a top 10 list was a Nissan Altima.
To be fair, I remember having a client who had 3 or 4 of them all through various years, but he swore by them. And his idea, which, hey, I dig the idea. If you don't need anything more than just a sedan, it's a great idea. He worked on all his own cars. And so he drove I forget which model sedan it was, but they were all 4 of them were the same model, just different years. And he's like, yep, this is all I will buy until my daughters, graduate and go off and live on their own, and get different cars, because I can use all of the same parts for all 4 cars. And once I start working on one of them, now I'm familiar with all of them and I know where everything's at. I know their parts that are likely to fail, and I know how to do it all. And so I just stocked this Nissan, whatever it was, Maxima, or I think it was a Maxima. I just stocked them, these parts, and I thought that's probably not a bad way to do it.
I appreciate the consistency, but I think there's a point to be made that he only had daughters.
Yes. Very much so. Yes.
It reminds me of like the Homer Simpson, or even Steve Jobs, where he's wearing a black T-shirt every day kind of thing. I have 50 black T-shirts.
Right.
I think Mr. Wonderful, like Kevin O'Leary, just has 12 of the same suit that he just wears.
Cycles.
It reminds me of that kind of situation. That's a weird thing to actually put into practice, though.
Well, moving on from...
You have stolen my dreams.
I think it's time to celebrate. We've made it. We've hit the pinnacle of stardom. I don't know if you guys saw this. We received our first BoobTube comment.
Oh.
Did we?
Yeah. Well, there's like 8 of them on there if you go on there and read.
We have 8 comments?
Well, 4 of them are from me.
You do not need to be responding to comments at this stage.
Aww.
Or ever.
Why not? We're small enough.
Okay,
this is the time to do it.
Are you about to read them?
Let's shout them out.
Hey, man,
all right.
Some people do it even when they're big.
And here's the thing. Let's take a guess on which episode you think the comment was on.
Okay, bring it. What, you mean just in general?
You guys guess. I know what episode it was on.
Bring it?
I thought you
He already knows.
I thought you meant like there was multiple comments across multiple episodes.
So there's one comment, and then I responded. We went back and forth for a little bit, but it's on a video that I would have never guessed. That we would have gotten.
The Gen Z video is my guess.
Definitely on the video with my dog versus child adoption controversy.
Oh
man! Now I gotta look up the.
You don't have to look. Just read the comment.
So it was on the river violence. The boys take on river violence. Yeah. So it was the one where we talked about the Wisconsin Apple River stabbing. So user at SWK1137 writes, I live less than 10 minutes from where the stabbing happened, and I am certain that those dirty prosecutors didn't want the video out there because then the whole world would have all this time to scrutinize it and figure out that it was self-defense. Then he goes on to say that he has, his words, quote unquote, a nonsensical case that nobody knows about from this county, and says it's absolutely crazy. He said he needs to tread lightly since it's about a close loved one. So I gave him our email. Yeah, well, nice. I said, hey, email it over, and you can censor out. Just give the theory, right? If you feel like this is too sensitive, you don't want to share names and places and faces and all that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just send an email, and I threw out the email address and the MidwestSense@gmail.com, and I just said send the theory, and we'll float it out, during a segment and see what's going on. And I haven't heard or seen anything since. So he said he was thinking about it. They said they were thinking about it. I don't want to assume what SWK 1137, where he sits, where they sit. That's so difficult.
The Southwest King.
Ooh, you think that's maybe what it is?
No, it's probably Smith and Wesson Kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, both good. I think if I had to bet, maybe that could be a whole thing. We bet on what this kid's username is.
So was that the extent of the?
That was basically the extent of the conversation. Yeah.
Hey, cool. We got a follower.
That's cool.
Well, who knows if he even follows?
Oh, he probably didn't follow. Or she. It could have been a she.
Who knows if they even follow?
All I know is I'm happy they contributed to the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you
for watching. Listen.
Come on back.
And now you're famous. We just put you out there. We put you on blast. So. Shoot me an email.
Several tens
Send
of
over
people
your theory. Let's chit chat about it.
This.
Several tens of people. So one last bit I wanted to get you guys' take on. Everyone keeps talking about the country getting a national divorce. And I know what they mean as far as the left and the right goes. But I like to think of it more of like parents splitting up. Like, like which parent are you going to go with? You know, like you got to pick between Biden and Kamala. You know, either one's a total dumpster fire.
Can I just be adopted?
right. Just be an orphan.
Just looking across the street.
But if the president and vice president were getting divorced and you had to pick which one to live with, Kamala as a newly divorced mom or Biden as your drugged up, delusional, newly divorced father, which one would it be and why? Fantastic. And I've got my list of reasons. I can go first if you guys want to jump in.
I think I'm going to take a direction that you guys probably are going to be counter to, but I would go with Kamala, or should I say Mamala?
Mamala?
Oh, no. Kamala's not mommy.
Did you say it?
Mama Kamala?
You saw that? Well, anyways, there's that cringy Drew Barrymore clip where she was calling her Mamala. The country needs Mamala. I thought about bringing it up to react, but it's too painful.
Yeah, thanks.
My point there is she's not going to be manipulated by somebody. She's probably not going to get remarried. So, you know, you've got the single mom.
She's a new single mom. She wants to be manipulated by somebody. Yeah, well, she has that sign in her yard.
Let me make my point here, okay?
Okay.
I agree. She does want to be manipulated by someone, and that would be me, her son, who could bend her to my will, make her feel bad.
Hold on, you're not a stepson. Just to throw this out there, you have to look at this like you're her biological son.
I am.
Okay.
I am. You tug at the emotions and get the mom to do what you want her to do. And that is much more likely to happen with her than you go the way of the Biden fellow, who's going to be your dad, who's already, his brain's gone. He's vulnerable. He's going to have some step witch come in who's 10 times as worse. I mean, if you thought his original wife, Kamala, was bad, just imagine what the stepmom's going to be like. And then you're going way more radical. So I think that's why I'd pick the cackling witch herself.
My gosh. Living with that laugh.
Yeah.
That'd be hard to do.
Can't do it. I got to go with Biden. Absolutely. He's spending most of the day in his diaper eating ice cream. He doesn't care what I'm doing. He hands me his keys and his credit card. He doesn't drive. We all know that. I'm driving his nice cars.
But how long till he dies?
Exactly.
Well, right.
I don't have to wait very long, and then I inherit
inheritance.
All of it. I don't need a guardian.
So I'm with Bustin on this one. I am definitely going with Biden. The guy's checked out, like he said. You know, if you're going to be in your vice-loving years as a teenager or a 20-something, you know, dad's in the bathroom sniffing
children.
You know, he's not going to care if you spark up a blunt in the living room and order some pizza. And obviously the dude's got some good connects. You know, look at where your big older brother Hunter is getting up to.
Let me call China.
I mean, that dude knows all
Just
the
check out
strippers.
he knows
the
all
West
Wing of the White House.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then like Bustin said, it's only a matter of time before you inherit something. Let me paint you a little picture of what the miserable Kamala kid over here is going to look like for going with Kamala. I got some a little bit.
You don't
here.
know how strategic I could be.
You could be. It could be really strategic. Here's how I feel like it would look. I feel like Kamala would immediately hit up the Facebook cat-loving Karen lady we talked about a week or two ago on the last podcast, who had the finally divorced sign for rent.
Oh, right.
And she'd rent that thing for an entire year. She would
Perfect time to
relive
work
the
on.
Willie Brown days. And if that is lost on you, hit up the Google machine, do some reading about Kamala and Willie Brown. Okay. As her son, you're going to have to deal with an endless stream of dudes coming into your place, walking through the living room, interrupting your Fortnite game, calling you sport or buddy or dude, and making a lame attempt at some sort of a connection, while Mama Kamala washes out the dude who was there 35 minutes ago with some Listerine extra strength. That's
her secret, though. Maybe she's into the, I don't know, the Eric Trumps of the world. There's this dirty secret. I don't know.
Maybe.
Is that the fake?
That's fake. That's insulting to
My hero.
Vivek.
I needed a stepdad.
Leave Vivek out of this.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's enough goofing. Let's get on to this day in history, huh?
This day in history.
So we got something a little bit different. We got birthdays. So we can add Ben's son, his birthday, May 3rd, to this list.
Happy birthday, Benson.
Yes.
Also born on May 3rd, 1903, in Tacoma, Washington, Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Bing. Arguably one of the biggest stars of the first half of the 20th century. He's the best-selling recording artist ever, with sales of over 500 million records in circulation. His single White Christmas, 1941, is still the best-selling single of all time.
Goddamn right it is.
Dude, I have that on vinyl.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Very nice. In addition to White Christmas, 3 of his songs have also been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame: Swinging on a Star, Pennies from Heaven, and Don't Fence Me In. He died in 1977 at the age of 74 from a heart attack.
Pretty good lifespan, all in all, for, probably doing a lot of interesting things.
Speaking of doing interesting things, we have another birthday. Shares the birthday with your son, James Brown, who we talked about another couple weeks ago.
Like a sex machine.
Born May 3rd, 1933 in Barnwell, South Carolina. James Brown was an American musician and songwriter who was one of the most influential figures of the 20th century popular music. He is often referred to as the godfather of soul, and his music had a profound impact on the development of funk, soul, and hip-hop. Brown's career took off in the 1960s with the release of his album Live at the Apollo. Ugh. I can read.
Live at the Apollo.
Live at the Apollo, which is considered one of the greatest live albums of all time. He went on to release a series of hit singles and albums that defined the sound of funk, including Cold Sweat, Get Up.
Get up.
Get on up.
Is it Get Up, Sex Machine, or Get Up and Sex Machine are two different songs?
Oh,
Get Up Like a Sex Machine.
The sequel.
Yeah,
on up.
because it says Get Up, and then in parentheses, I feel like being a sex machine.
It's just a long name.
Just call it Sex Machine. I mean, you can't forget that name. And then a song called The Payback.
And let's not forget his star role in the 2002 hit film with Jackie Chan, The Tuxedo.
How could we forget?
That's actually where I first learned about
Really?
him. Yeah.
Oh, man.
You guys remember that movie? Maybe,
I've seen
maybe
it.
not.
I don't remember James Brown being in
Yeah,
it.
he was in it, and I don't remember much, but it was eye-opening.
Interesting. Brown continued to perform and record until his death in 2006, where he died at the age of 73 from pneumonia. Moving on to historical events. In 1945, Allies arrest German physicist Werner Heisenberg, the original Breaking Bad, or more like Bombing Bad.
Oh.
Then they probably hired him.
Yes, of course they did. Mm-hmm. That's what arrest meant. He's still alive in Argentina.
Werner Heisenberg was a German
kids
physicist best known for his pioneering work in the field of quantum mechanics. He is further known for the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which asserts a fundamental limit to the accuracy with which we can provide a value for certain pairs of physical properties. This work led to Heisenberg receiving the 1932 Nobel Prize in Physics, which was given to him specifically for the creation of quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics, however, was not the only field in which Heisenberg made important contributions. I don't have a bomb explosion sound, but he was also known as one of the lead scientists in the German nuclear weapons program during World War II. Following this, in 1957, he also played an essential role in the development of the first German nuclear reactor. One of his famous quotes is, "An expert is someone who knows some of the worst mistakes that can be made in his subject and how to avoid them."
Can you read that one more time, but in a German accent?
I was thinking that.
I was thinking that.
An expert
were
is
you?
someone who knows some of the worst mistakes that can be made in this subject and how to avoid them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad for an on-the-fly.
That's pretty all right.
It was all right, yeah.
Just all
Das
right.
ist good.
That is great.
In 1948, first broadcast of CBS Evening News, the longest running network news show in the U.S. In 1952, a ski-equipped United States Air Force Douglas C-47A Skytrain, piloted by Lieutenant Colonel Williams P. Benedict and Joseph O. Fletcher of the United States Air Force, was the first airplane to land at the North Pole. The navigator was First Lieutenant Herbert Thompson. Upon landing, all three got out of the plane and said, "F***, it's cold," and flew back home.
Did they meet Santa?
Yeah.
No mention of Santa.
Santa Claus.
There's no workshop,
There's
no
a
cookies.
pole there.
What is this pole doing here?
Dude.
Oh, man. In 1971, U.S. President Nixon administration authorizes arrest of 13,000 anti-war protesters in 3 days. Meanwhile, fast forward to today where we pass anti-free speech laws in an attempt to get college kids to behave.
Interesting times.
couldn't help it.
It hurts.
In 1978...
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I feel like the schools are kind of getting what they asked for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
You're gonna have...
You're going to try to censor everyone, and then you're going to be...
Yeah.
And then it turned around and got censored.
Right.
On
It's
them,
what
so.
I always say, the snake eating its own tail.
That's exactly
you're,
right.
You're going to preach Marxism and communism in the classroom, and then you're going to be surprised that all of your students are Marxists and communists?
Right.
What?
They don't follow their own train of thought
Not at all.
to their grand central station of its logical conclusion. They just... I have a bright idea. Okay, let's think about it for a minute. Nope. Here we go.
Here we go.
Point in case, gays for Hamas.
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Queers for
The
Palestine.
irony.
Yeah.
God, the irony.
We should do a GoFundMe to get them tickets to go over there to tour this
Actually?
place they support.
Yes, we should.
A one-way ticket.
If anybody's interested in doing that, we'll offer two. We'll offer
Well, will we get a refund? Because we're not going to need the second one. The return flight ain't happening.
Oh, man. In 1978, first unsolicited bulk commercial email, also known as spam, is sent by a Digital Equipment Corporation marketing representative to every ARPANET address on the U.S. West Coast.
AKA the government.
That was in 1978.
And did it
That's
say
disgusting, dude.
reshare in 5 seconds or you'll die in 10 days?
Yeah, right. On May 3rd in 2000, the sport of geocaching begins with the first cache placed and the coordinates from a GPS posted on Usenet. Exactly 2 days later, everyone who wasn't a nerd was using the internet to look for hookups instead of looking for hidden trinkets and rotten tree trunks.
Oh, geocaching is super cool.
Of course.
Of
course it is.
I've done it a couple times. You go around in the woods and you find
this?
You find a little figurine. It's pretty neat.
Well, you'll find the thing, you'll sign it or whatever, but it's
How
like
dare you?
Do not come.
I think I'd rather climb a mountain.
Do not come.
it's fun because once you get to the coordinates, you're like, okay, now I get to search, and it's like playing hot and cold. You're like, is it here? No. Is it over
I found the
here?
trash.
I found the trash. I think it's neat.
It is kind of fun. It is definitely nerdy, though. I mean, it got kids to go outside that probably wouldn't have gone outside before.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess. It sounds cool. It sounds kind of cool.
It's just like hide and seek.
It's good when you're like 30, you know,
Yeah,
or more like
there you
50. It's the equivalent to bird watching.
And you can bird watch while you're geocaching.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing, Drew, really.
Wow. All right. We'll check it out. Moving on to the great M&M's, movies and music. In 2002, Spider-Man premieres, starring Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and William Dafoe as Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin.
I will never not remember going to the theater to see that movie. That was like a life-changing experience as a kid. You know, you have those movies that you just always remember.
Mine
seeing
was the original X-Men.
Yeah. So this was one of those.
Or the first X-Men
I
movie.
probably watched that as a kid with my brothers no less than 10 times, you know.
It's a great
classic movie.
I have, my grandma got me the special edition Spider-Man one. It was like a box set. It came with the first Spider-Man comic. I got the
Spider-Man's
I got
a great
a
superhero.
drawing. Actually, it's right there.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, look at it. He's caught
That's
the bad
pretty
guy
sweet.
in his
It's
web.
nifty.
Yeah.
That's nice. And William Dafoe nailed that part.
Willem.
Sorry.
Did I say? I probably said Willem.
Andrew started it with William.
William is probably what I said. Yeah, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
I have definitely used the photo of Norman Osborn saying, I'm something of a scientist myself.
I'm something of a podcaster myself.
Yeah,
I'm something of a
it's
homosexual.
not original, but yeah.
Their possibilities are endless.
They're
it's a
endless.
very good
I'm
lead.
something of a lesbian myself.
That
Have you
just
ever
means she
seen
likes what
Boondock
I like.
Saints?
That's right.
Did you guys ever see Boondock Saints?
Of course.
Yeah.
There was a firefight!
Where he plays a gay cop.
That's been a long
guy's
time
like,
since I've seen that movie.
Do you want to cuddle? Get out of here, you f***, or whatever. Like after they're done doing the deed.
Oh, man. The movie was wild.
That movie. And then to see him as like Norman Osborn in the next movie.
Yeah.
Quite a contrast.
Spider-Man.
Come out to play.
In 2005, Fall Out Boy's breakthrough album From Under the Cork Tree is released through Island Records. Is this perhaps Epstein's record label?
I mean,
Epstein's
they were probably
Island
young
Records?
enough. They were probably young enough at the time to have insider information.
I could. What was the first Fall Out Boy song you ever heard, Uncle Bussin?
Oh, their names are so long.
I think the first Fall Out Boy song I have ever heard is probably their shortest song title name.
Which is?
Saturday.
No,
I think
not
I've
for
heard
me.
that. Honestly, I know the name. You know, I know I've listened to probably. Yeah, like I know that song. I just can't name a single one of their songs
So
right
many.
now.
Right now, all I can think of is Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner. Some of their names are pretty clever.
Oh yeah, the Sugar We're Going Down. That's like their
That's
classic.
Not a clever. Not a clever.
Sugar,
Oh, yeah,
we're going
dance.
down singing.
You're not supposed to put the song lyrics as the name of the song if you're
Oh
following.
yeah, and then the Thanks for the Memories. That was all.
they
Thanks
did
for
it
the
again.
memories.
Yeah, not creative. Those were radio hits, and that's why they want the name. They want people to hear
That's
the
true.
name
That's
and
pretty
know.
true.
Oh yeah,
Fall Out
it's
Boy.
those lyrics that are stuck in my head.
Well, Saturday is from the album before this album. It's from the blue
like
one.
the EP or something.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know. It's got the guys on front, and it's like black and blue.
Do you guys ever watch the Emo's Not Dead YouTube channel? With that guy
Sometimes,
memeing around it?
but
he's created original songs with guys from like New Found Glory and Simple Plan,
oh yeah,
and they're good.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually like they could compete with what was actually coming out back then. It's just it's not the same because it's 2024.
Do you?
But I give that guy a lot of credit for bringing the genre back to where it's at because he literally has like a cruise where they'll have all those acts come back.
Yeah.
Taking Back Sunday, everybody comes onto that cruise and plays shows.
I would go on a Taking Back Sunday cruise.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
Really?
neat. You weren't
It's
into
not
them
just
as much,
them.
were you?
No, they
Are you
were
kidding
they
me?
were
They're
his
like my top,
number one band.
Yeah.
Well, then why are you saying that? You get to go on a cruise.
Because
and one of the main events is
hold on.
Taking Back
Cruise.
Sunday.
So I was going to ask you, do you look back on that part of life? Like,
Fondly.
yeah.
No, I don't.
I mean, it was.
That's why I still like the music.
I will say that was the last time you could actually go to a show and just have it be a show. Like you could actually escape.
That's true.
When we were that age, we didn't have phones that could record well. So we were at a show and we were actually enjoying the music. We were getting into trouble. We weren't getting tracked by our phones, and then everything wasn't posted online. It was kind of a, I get nostalgic thinking about that.
Here's what I mean about the cruise, though. Okay, I want you to do me a favor.
Close my eyes.
There, yep.
I'm not falling for this again.
I'll stay seated. I promise. So close your eyes here. Everybody, everyone listening, do this with me. Close your eyes. Let's go back to 2005, 2006. 2007's pushing it a little bit, okay?
Drew's hair is turning a darker shade of turquoise.
Yeah. Let's stick between 2004 and 2006, okay? Picture the the emo show that you might have been at in 2004, 2005, 2006. Let's ignore the band for a minute. Let's picture the crowd around us. Let the music fade out. And I just want you to do a 360 spin and look at all the people that are around you. Okay?
Look at their hair.
Why are the men's pants tighter than the women's?
Look at Andrew's hair.
Hone in on everyone standing around you. Now what I want you to do, make sure you're sitting down when we do this next part, okay? Make sure you're sitting down with something that has a back or padding around it. All those people that you just imagined, I want you to go ahead and add 15, 16, 17 years to their life.
And pounds at least.
Shut up, Ben.
Obviously, those years come with several pounds.
Of pure muscle.
And probably twice as much emotional baggage than they already carried at that moment. Now I want you to place that person on a ship in the middle of the ocean where you're stuck with them and endless amounts of booze for a week.
Yeah, you've totally sold me to stay on shore.
I love Taking Back Sunday, and we're going to go through a lot to see them. That is something I am not willing to do.
And that's fine. That's fair.
That's
I would
all
go-
that could.
I would go
that
to
was
the-
flying through my head when you were like, they got a cruise. I'm like, that sounds worse than a regular
I've
carnival
been craving
cruise.
a vacation.
I would
lately.
go to the We Were Young festival where it's got like every punk band
No
from
festivals for me.
our youth in Las Vegas.
How can you be ready for a cruise but say no
Yeah,
festivals?
I don't get that.
Because if it's a cruise, I can retreat to my tiny room in the basement of the ship.
Seasick.
That's
Versus
not-
your
that's
giant
not
hotel in
retreating.
Las Vegas. Come on.
Well, you're not staying at a giant
Or
hotel
your
if you're going
car,
to a
you could
festival.
just
I'm thinking.
leave.
Oh, when you said
It's in
festival, I'm
Vegas.
thinking
It's
camping.
in Vegas.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
not camping.
Okay, then that's different.
It's
I
Rich
went to
Millennial
the
Festival,
I went to
you know?
the
Yeah.
reunion tour, Under Oath reunion tour. What was it called? But out in California, in
Sure.
San Bernardino.
Oh, yeah.
I went there when I was living here, wasn't I?
I don't know. I
I
wasn't
flew out there
invited.
with M. Sure, you were invited.
No, I wasn't.
You didn't want to spend money on the ticket.
I wasn't invited.
Yeah, I mean, the lineup would be fun. You got Yellow Card, My Chemical Romance, Jimmy Eat World, some of the big names. Devil Wears Prada, Mayday Parade. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Mayday
The
Parade.
Used,
Remember
Pierce
them?
the Veil, Dashboard Confessional. I mean, this would be a fun show. Yeah,
All
a lot
right,
of fun shows.
all right.
A Day to Remember would be there.
We're getting way
Taking
too
Back-
deep into
Yeah,
this
we'd have to
one.
we'd have to pull Andrew away
And
from
tickets
the slots long
tickets
enough
start
to go
at
to the show.
$20. You could win that like that in Vegas and then lose it even
And
faster.
then lose it faster. Yeah. Anyways, back to on this day
Let's
in
get back to
history.
the 3rd of May.
There's more.
There was a trip down memory lane that I hope to never relive.
All we can say is
I'm sad.
the music of our teenage years is going to make damn sure that we can never leave.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that reference. In 2020, investor Warren Buffett dumps his holdings in 4 major U.S. airlines, saying, quote, "The world has changed for aviation," reflecting an increasingly bleak outlook for the industry. Meanwhile, I still have my COVID Delta stock like a flipping diamond hands idiot.
Can we just? That's perfect.
Gross.
He saw this way ahead of time. This week,
That was
by
in
the way,
2020, though, wasn't it?
That was in 2020.
he
So,
still saw
What
this
time?
years ahead of time.
But in May 3rd.
May.
So we were already closed down.
But even beyond
Oh, yeah.
that,
what's
what
funny
I'm,
is he sold all of his stuff, and I bought in on Delta, and I got
Oh,
a
that was
great
dumb.
price on it. I got a great price. I tripled my money when it came back.
Sure,
I
yeah.
didn't sell it. I just figured Delta's not going anywhere. I'll just keep it. And then later I see
No.
that he came out and said that, and I don't know where I'm at now.
I think, well, Delta's
Yeah.
still the one to buy if you're going to. But this week, the
Fair point.
second Boeing whistleblower died.
No way.
I heard about that. Yeah, we should probably do a little bit of a story on that in the future.
Or maybe
will.
we should stay far away from
We
that.
should.
Yeah.
story.
Sorry, I did not say that.
Yeah.
Run, guys!
The first one was found
Save
shot
yourself.
in his car.
Oh
The
my
second one this
gosh.
week.
And that was the deposition. The
He-
guy who was doing the deposition.
Well, and this one had testified too.
okay. Yep.
And and it was a fast-acting infection that killed him. Perfectly healthy before that. He's in his 40s.
I didn't know this, but I was talking to a pilot the other day, and some airlines exclusively, like Southwest, every single plane they fly is a Boeing 737. Mm-hmm. They used to be my favorite airline just because of the customer service. You could pick your own seat, all that. I don't think I'll ever fly them
Boeing
again.
737, that's just standard for national flight.
That's true. That's
So
true. And that's the plane they've
They
had
have
the
been
most
for years.
issues with.
Ethan, if you're
Recently,
listening,
yeah.
Recently, yeah.
I've made up my mind. I am not coming to visit you.
He's in Canada. You could drive. Yeah.
That's the only way I would.
Yeah. And he doesn't want to drive. So, all right.
2023, AJ Banga, I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Banga Boys?
Banga is elected president of the World Bank after being nominated by U.S. President Joe Biden. Now, that sounds like a job no one should have. And why Biden is nominating anyone for the president of the World Bank, I've never even heard of that.
Is Biden king of the world now? When did that happen?
Don't know.
I mean...
We did it, Joe.
I don't know.
If that doesn't scream there's an elite
It just
power...
it shows you it's a business. That's all.
Global bank.
Yeah, I don't get that. World Bank. I've never even heard of that. I was hoping you...
I mean,
you
from
knew
an economic level,
something.
I've heard of it, I think. But again, I'm more of a personal finance person than an economist. But it's disgusting to just think that that's a possibility.
Well, and shouldn't that appointment be put to a vote by the board of directors, not the president of the United States?
Or just not exist.
Or not
Why
exist.
do we
Why
have
do we
this
have a
much
World Bank?
concentration? Because of end times,
one
bro.
world currency,
End
that's right.
times.
Something.
I mean, truthfully, that's probably it. But
All right. Well, and then lastly, in 2023, mysterious explosive drone. This is all also in 2023.
Just a year ago.
This is both the World Bank deal was supposedly May 3rd in 2023, and this is supposedly May 3rd, 2023.
and I believe that was after there were numerous bank failings, like the Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic.
Oh, probably.
I never heard of the World Bank thing before, so I wonder if this item was a distraction from that.
That's what I'm saying. 2023 mysterious explosive drone attack on the Kremlin in Moscow has no clear motive or link to people behind it. Despite Russian claim it was attempt to assassinate Vladimir Putin amid Ukrainian and U.S. denials. So I'm beginning to think that the drone attack was just to flood the news outlets with a distraction from this World Bank guy.
Yeah, Putin wasn't even at the Kremlin. That's verified.
Yeah.
I believe that too. But you didn't hear it here.
Yep. What the hell do I know?
You heard it from me, but you can't find me.
I'm just an idiot with the internet.
Very true, Buster.
So, well, that was today in history.
This day in history.
All right, moving on to some Midwest nonsense. I believe Ben's got a game for us, and we're going to jump right in. The Midwest ain't big enough for all this nonsense.
All right. So we've got a fun game for you gentlemen today. We all love to be sexist at times, do we not? And so we're going to play
favorite part of the day.
we're going to play Battle of the Sexes. And this is news-based. So I'm going to read you guys headlines to different articles. I'm going to omit the word man or omit the word woman. And you're going to have to try to guess which gender it is. Yes, I said gender, and I interchanged that with sex. Believe it or not, they're the
only
same
two.
friggin' thing.
Yes, sir.
So if I stump you guys, I get a point. If you guys get it correctly, you get a point. Pretty simple, right?
I think we got it.
All right. Let's try it out. So I've got a number of stories here. Let's get into it. So
I like the odds. That's what I like.
Yeah, you guys, the odds are in your favor. So first and foremost, we'll start with the great state of Florida. You know, you hear Florida man, Florida woman. So this story, Florida blank accused of chucking machete at neighbor who complained that blank was being too loud.
Ooh, so we got to guess the sex of the neighbor and the
for this story, I'll just
machete thrower.
It's just one sex that you're guessing.
Okay, but you said blank twice.
I didn't want to give away any pronouns here.
So she threw a machete at her male neighbor.
Yeah. No.
Yeah?
No, wait. Hold on. Confirm your answer here. What I'm saying is everyone involved in the story is one gender.
Oh.
That's my point.
That completely changes my guess.
Okay. What's your guess?
Oh, man.
It was a dude.
I'm going to go with the dude as well.
The woman threw the machete.
Leave it up to Florida.
Yeah. Good job, Florida.
She threw a machete at her female neighbor?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It was
so that was my question was just I feel like we could have maybe possibly honed in on the one but maybe that's the gig, right?
Since they were both, he didn't want to give
That is part of the gig. Right. I'm going to try to stump you on
those
some of
ladies in Florida are spicy.
But like if you would have said it was a male neighbor, it could have gone either way with the machete thrower.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, you guys want to get another chance at this here?
Of course.
Okay.
Now I'm itching.
Florida.
Who throws a machete though?
Who throws a machete? Honestly.
A woman.
How many women have machetes?
I'm going to come.
All right. So let's get into this. Florida.
I think we know Ben's type.
The assertive woman.
MS-13.
Honey, I'm waiting in the bedroom. Don't forget the machete.
All right. So Florida blank nabbed for allegedly stealing Mountain Dew and 2 cases of beer from Walmart. Is it a man or a woman?
Florida makes it so tough. I'd say a dude.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with a woman.
Sorry, Justin was right. It was a man.
The Mountain Dew was for himself. The beer was for his boyfriend.
All right, I might need to open this one up. This is a little more serious because we're taking things north to our home state of Minnesota. Police mistakenly report blank hurt in North Minneapolis rollover crash has died.
So they mistakenly reported death in a car accident?
Yeah, was the death a woman or a man?
Why would you pick this story?
I needed content here.
So if it's a man, it's less likely that they would have died?
The way he's wording it, it almost sounds as like they reported the wrong sex initially.
Who rolled their car? Was it a man or a woman?
It was a woman.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a woman.
You guys are on the board. I couldn't trick you with that one.
You kind of gave it away with the reframing of the situation there.
Fair enough. All right. This is going to be another one that is a little out of the box. Blank says their emotional support alligator, known for its big social media audience, has gone missing.
Where was this story from?
Well, he said alligator.
Does it matter? I mean,
it matters.
I'm going to say Florida.
This was a guy.
This was a woman.
This was a man.
The only reason it's called an emotional support alligator is so that he can bring it in public because he actually got a certificate for that.
See, but the emotional support animal thing, I will be honest, I would mostly guess that was a woman if I had to.
I would too, except for the fact that it's an alligator and the only way to bring it in public would be if it had that certificate.
Oh, I get the certificate part.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen a video of this guy like holding it, walking it. It's on a harness.
I just imagine the guy in Florida's like, I don't give a shit about no damn certificate. This is my pet alligator.
You're gonna have to shoot me.
He more kind than them pit bulls you got up there in the Midwest.
All right. Let's see. Next story. Montana blank gets 12 years in prison for leaving threatening voicemails for Senator John Tester.
That's a woman.
Is John Tester a Democrat or a Republican?
I don't know. I didn't
you know
go
what?
that deep.
Let's
figure that out.
I feel like this is a real important question because if he's a man,
It's probably a Republican.
if he's a
because
Republican
it's
man,
Montana.
yeah, we know it's probably
Sorry,
like
John.
an abortion related thing, and she's and the
It
person
could
in
also
question
be-
is flipping out.
It could also be about property tax. If he's a conservative, it could be about land management. Could be about development.
What was the name?
John Tester. Tester. Tester.
John Tester, Montana. Act Blue. A member of the Democrat Party.
It was a man.
I might want to change my answer now.
Do it.
Okay. What's your final answer? Man or woman?
You know what? Montana's a red state, yeah.
It is.
Typically. I'm going to stay with woman.
It was a man. At the end of these 5 stories, Justin has, or I suppose maybe I read 6. Justin has 4 points, Drew has 1, and I have 1.
Dang it.
Get good, scrubs.
All right, let's go to.
What kind of femi boy is leaving voicemails in Montana?
Well, I'm sure that the liberal wasn't responding to emails.
All right, we got another delightful story for you, gentlemen. Blank guilty of murdering pub landlord.
Pub landlord?
Pub landlord. Was this a woman or a man?
Man.
This is a Florida thing?
Not going to get into the state every time. You guys got to
undisclosed.
just give it your gut
Fine.
reaction.
Well, all right.
This isn't research. This is a game.
You went with woman?
No, man. Man killed him for getting banned from the pub.
I'm going man.
No!
Woman.
Can you tell us why? Tell us why.
Yeah, I believe she. Let's see. It was her former brother-in-law.
Oh,
So,
never mind.
She,
it's a family affair.
Some family affair.
See, I think that would have helped.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't care if
the
it
fact
would've
that he's a
helped.
pub owner is
But-
This was,
relevant.
in, this was in Great Britain.
But not helped, but given context around the crime, because that's half the fun is like we got the context of the crime and what do you think is more likely to commit the crime? And the more likely works everywhere except for Florida. So I can understand you withholding Florida
Yeah.
because that's where chicks throw machetes, apparently. But
Right, because if it's just a pub owner, you think it's just a random act of violence because the dude was drunk
Yeah.
and angry. But if you know that they used to be related, it changes everything.
yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
Crime of
Fair
crime
enough.
of passion. Crime of I don't know. Killing the annoying brother-in-law.
I'm going to skip ahead to a war we all deeply care about in Ukraine.
Oh, great.
A Ukrainian woman, okay. I guess we're not.
God, dang!
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Just read the rest.
Okay, so that's a good one. I haven't listened to that whole soundbite. But the Ukrainian woman who is 98 trekked many. Let me just pull up the actual story again. Ukrainian woman 98 treks miles under shelling to escape Russian forces. I thought that was a pretty impressive feat.
Yeah, I don't know
Just
which
for
one I
good
would've guessed.
Instagram pics. She did it for the gram.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. She's not the photo ready woman in the world.
Feet pics.
She's 98. There we go. All right, so we'll X that one out. All right, this person, I'll say blank, runs 1 mile in a swimming pool in 35 minutes, 24 seconds. Was this a man or a woman?
Running in a swimming pool. Is that I'm assuming that 35 minutes is a record? Or are they just the first one to try running
He
that
said
far in a
you
swimming
can't
pool?
do research.
Just gut reaction here. Good Lord.
Sorry, I'm an overthinker. It's probably a woman.
Yeah, who runs in a swimming pool? I'm going with woman.
Water resistance is great exercise.
It was a man, but I will show you the picture of the man and you can determine if this is a star athlete that you guys think is doing this.
Oh,
He's doing it for the resistance
the
workout.
water
He
therapy makes
weighs
sense,
probably no less than 320.
And I get it because running is terrible for your joints. So
Yeah. I mean,
with all that weight up top, he's just crushing his knees to the dirt.
figuring it out.
Hey, good for him for doing it though.
So you guys have heard of tree huggers.
What are those?
Have you ever heard of a literal tree hugger? So in Ghana, this person hugged a world record 1,123 trees in an hour. Was this a man?
1,123 trees.
They're fast over there.
That's 18. That's almost 19 trees a minute.
Well, yeah, they're obviously not spending quality time with each tree.
Yeah.
Like, those are the shittiest hugs you've ever
He's not
seen.
dating the tree. He's not courting this tree.
He's not.
You guys just need a frickin' guess.
Stop ruining it.
Frickin' suck. All right. But yeah, Ghana, man. I mean, that kind of explains. You know, they're so fast in Africa. They're probably sprinting from tree to tree to tree. You know, they're the ones winning all the records in the Olympics.
It's not like the trees are handing out snacks.
They're not running from him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running from tree to tree to tree. You got to put your mind to that.
My. What a conservationist. This man.
He's making a difference, people.
Spreading
Can you
the love.
imagine the sexist hill that you're going to die on is that men hug trees faster than women?
No, I just
Hit it and quit it.
I mean, the men are not, they're fast at running. You can run to tree to tree to tree.
See, I'm
And he's
like,
probably not as emotionally attached to each tree.
The women in Ghana are outrunning me also.
he's pair bonding with each tree as time goes by. Dude,
That's a good question.
the tree hugger, instead of what's your body count, what's your tree count?
There's wood involved.
How many
All right,
rings
so
are on your trunk?
let's get into it. I'll try not to screw this one up.
Please.
It's really tough because you're looking at the headline and you're not really going to read the headline. But all
See,
right.
I would have had to like edit everything out.
Yeah. All right. So this person, 21 years old, drinks insect-filled vending machine coffee and is left fighting for life.
Insect-filled vending machine coffee.
Yes.
Oh,
That's a man. The woman wouldn't have drank it if there were bugs in it.
can you tell?
No. Gut reaction.
I want to know
He'll
where.
get into it after.
I know.
Gut reaction.
All right, I'm gonna go with a man.
It's a woman.
Was it a man before?
I want to know. I want to know where this.
Some of these have a
vending
paywall,
machine,
so I can't get into the full article.
I want to know where
too.
the vending machine was. Was this at a hospital?
It was at
a
an
university? At an airport?
I got that much, yeah.
Do we know what
San
city?
Sant Joan.
Okay, so
Joan
it was one of
Airport. I
those
don't
where
know.
the cup falls
Some other
out
country,
and then the
most
coffee
likely.
pours out.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the bugs were inside the machine, not in the cup of coffee, and they just
I
contaminated the
honestly don't
coffee
know. I don't
or the
know.
water. Oh, that's sick.
It's disgusting.
Oh, now I
though.
don't ever want to get liquid from.
All right, I have
machines.
faith for you guys on this next one.
Thank you.
I stick to my French press at home. I'm good with that.
Yes, he's a bougie bitch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
You got to have good coffee. So blank, man or woman, balances running lawnmower on their chin for 9 minutes, 17 seconds.
Non-binary. Oh, you said running lawnmower?
Running.
Oh,
It's
all right,
turned
that
on.
changes everything for me. I'm gonna go with a man.
I concur.
Finally.
There you go.
What did I'm at 2
You're
now.
at 2.
Jeez Louise.
All right, let's keep going. We got a few more. Let's see. All right, this is kind of a weird one. We're going down south here. Blank complimented divorce after learning their spouse is their cousin, but now they're stronger than ever. Who were they highlighting in this story?
Blank complimented divorce
Yeah.
after learning.
Sorry,
Spouse.
not complimented. Did I say compliment? Contemplated.
Oh, contemplated. Okay.
Makes more sense.
So
Sorry.
this person thought about divorce after they found out their spouse was their cousin.
It's a dude, and they contemplated divorce, but then they were like, "Nah, my cousin's hot."
Yeah, that's what I'm going with, the dude.
Oh,
It's a woman. It's a woman.
We have a picture.
Let's see. No, I'm
Hey,
stuck.
will you do a news story on
You
us
know
and
what?
put our picture up there so everybody knows who we are?
famous.
It's behind a paywall, but I bet you we guess what?
Never mind. South
guess.
and Marion Cousins, we don't
But
need to
it
see
wasn't
the
the
picture.
South. Actually, it was from Colorado. So
Oh, that's so weird.
even worse.
See, I was picturing her missing a tooth and him wearing overalls without socks or shoes.
Very, very stupid people.
Yeah, we can only deal with what we can deal with.
Why, when you had the wedding, why didn't the parents show up
Hey,
for
I
each,
recognize that
for
guy.
each side and be like, wow, so who are you guys here for? You
No,
know,
we
"Oh,
need to use 23andMe. Maybe
we're
it
here
was
for the bride. No,
It
we're here
must
for
have
the
just
groom.
been distant cousins.
This is another world record. So this person's in Nigeria. They interviewed 90 people. This is, again, like a miraculous record. It's not quite as miraculous maybe as the trees. Actually, I think it's more. Interviews 90 people in 55 hours for world record.
That's not even difficult to attain.
I don't find either this record or the tree record impressive in
No.
any way.
Just think about the math behind that. That's what I'm saying.
Plus, it's a misleading title too, because you don't know if those were consecutive hours.
Those must be crappy interviews.
That's fair. That's
He's not
fair.
getting to the bottom of anything in that amount of time. I'm guessing it's a dude.
I'm guessing it's a woman because a man wouldn't be bragging about it.
Justin is right again.
Golly!
All right. How much endurance you guys have? I got about 3-4 more if you want it.
Pick two of the best ones.
Do the best ones. Okay.
How many do I need to catch up?
You can't.
Let's do a score check.
So we
here.
got a score check here. We've got Justin in first place at 6 points, me in second at 5, and Drew at 2. So
You can't catch up anyway. He could tie if you have 4 more.
this one, I don't know if it's the best one, but I'll throw it out there. It's an airline story again. American Airlines repeatedly mistakes 100-year-old blank for a baby. Was it a man or a woman?
It was probably a man. Haven't you seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
Yeah, but what if this is the curious case of Christina Button? Curious Christina.
I say man.
Boy, oh boy, I think I'm going to go with Asian man.
Come on, the years should have given it away. I mean, men do not live as long as women. How many 101-year-old women are there compared to men?
I don't know, but
Probably
the men
at
would all
least
look
twice.
like babies. That's why there's such a disparity among the counting.
That's where I'm with Uncle Busted on this one.
All right.
If you're made it to 100-something and look like a baby,
You're in a
Dudes
stroller.
are probably as wrinkly
Yeah.
as a raisin by the time they get there.
no, the
That's a
woman is the
very
one
ugly baby.
looking like the crypt keeper.
I mean, both of them. I don't understand how they're going to look like a baby, but let's see if I can find one.
You ever seen
Good
those
one.
little like
Let's-
100-year-old monks?
Let's try to get.
That's
That's
what
true.
I'm thinking of.
Let's try to get this last story. I don't know. This will be the tiebreaker because Justin and I are currently tied at 6
All or
apiece.
nothing? Oh, tiebreaker for us. Okay.
The California man.
God damn
Goodness,
it.
dude. It's a lot harder than you think, guys. A lot harder than you think. But I should read that story anyway. There was a
it was
California man who hid 6 months in a secret room inside of Circuit City. Speaking of our nostalgic 2005 conversation earlier.
Oh heck yeah, Circuit City.
Circuit City. All right, let's see.
Where do you guys keep your USB cables at? No thanks, I don't need help. I'm just here looking through CDs.
This is a stupid one, but it'll be our last one. Milledgeville blank was wounded while walking. Who do you think that is more likely to happen to?
I'm gonna go with woman because I just feel like there's a heavy sexist thing
It was a
going
man.
on here.
It was a man. And,
Sorry, Andrew. How was he wounded?
The Midwest ain't big enough for all this nonsense. man.
And it was a 19-year-old who got, shot. So that would have given it
Wounded
away.
while walking. They didn't say he was
They
shot.
didn't give it away.
Whoever wrote that story got fired. They're like, this is not extreme at all.
No,
We should play that again.
Yeah.
But I got a suggestion. Edit out the headline
No
so that
kidding.
you can read it straight through without the man or woman. But
if you weren't asking me so many friggin' questions, I maybe could think through.
Because the
what I was
funny
reading.
part isn't
But
about
yes,
the headline.
yes.
The funny part is about the context of it. So, like, the machete one was a good one because we got the headline and all the context. Because, hey, but like, man wounded while walking. What is it? That leaves me with nothing.
Bottom line, Justin wins.
Jimmy sprained his ankle walking to the mailbox. What story is that? But if like the pub
It was
owner,
a small town.
if there was some context behind it, like
Well, that would give it away.
pub goer stabs brother-in-law.
Okay, so here's how we play
Or,
next
or,
time.
or kills brother-in-law. That now we've got a little bit of.
Next time, you format the title so that there's no issue.
Fair enough.
We have to give our gut response based
Yes,
on
please.
the title.
And then I can share more.
Then you share more before giving us the answer. You share the
Yep,
context,
yep.
so then we have a chance to be like, oh no.
That's a lovely way to get
But we
after
cannot
this.
change our
We'll bring
original
this
answer.
game
Okay,
back,
all
ladies
right.
and gentlemen. We had to workshop
Bring
it
it
today.
back. That was good. Yeah.
But
that was real good.
We had some fun.
You got it, Andrew.
Yeah, well, the news, but we didn't really get anything for the news.
I have one funny story. I can just bring it up quick.
Bring it up.
This will only take a second. We'll spend more time joking about it. I just saw this today.
Oh, wait.
Good evening. I'm Jaime Smith. You're listening to Midwest Sense News.
Thank you, Jaime. You're always there when we need you.
He's really the most reliable member of this cast.
Absolutely. That guy's never late, always on time. Let's kick it on over to Uncle Bustin, who's got some news for us.
All right, so this just happened a couple weeks ago. On juvenile crime on ABC13.com, parents of boy bank robbers dubbed as Little Rascals turned them in. These 3 boys in Houston, Texas, robbed a bank and got away with it until the parents turned them in.
So lame.
Ooh, this is like the Ben game, except you're playing black or white instead of man or woman, right?
Oh boy.
It doesn't say anything about that, and it's because they're all minors. But,
Settle down. Comment section, settle down. I'm teasing.
but the funny thing about it is the FBI
They were obviously mixed race.
So it was.
Oh man.
It was an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
11-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
And they say the younger
bank.
generations are all just stupid and worthless.
And apparently the bank teller gave them fake money also.
Apparently, I'm right.
But they still got charged with the crime, which is a felony
all
level
three
crime,
got-
even though they're minors.
And all 3 left with dumb suckers.
You want a sucker, buddy?
I remember going into banks like 10 years
They
ago.
didn't even wear masks. Like there's a photo from the security footage that they had to blur
Just
out
walked
because
in
they're
and started
minors.
speaking slang.
So they're
Yeah.
protecting the identity of the minors.
Hey,
But no,
give me all your money.
Yeah,
No
they
cap.
walked up, slid a note across that was apparently, threatening. So the bank teller gave him some fake money, sent him on the way.
It's like
But the
literally,
FBI couldn't find
It
them.
like blows
It was
up
like
like
a couple
ink.
weeks.
literally Monopoly money.
Yeah, it was like a couple weeks until the parents turned them in. So, and these bank robbers have been dubbed the Little Rascals.
Oh my gosh. What is
Good.
this
Where
world
was this?
coming to?
Houston, Texas.
Houston.
At a Wells Fargo. I just feel bad for the 11-year-old because, he was just tagging along thinking
No,
it
he was
cool.
just trying to do some justice. Wells Fargo doesn't deserve to keep a dime,
That's fair.
even if it's fake.
Fair point.
They're still losing something, right? If they give away that fake money.
It's got to affect your.
I mean, all money's fake, technically.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that could be a nice segue into what I got here.
Yep.
Cool.
But how do you think that would affect the relationship with your parents, knowing that your mom or your dad ratted you out?
Oh, they only ratted him out because the money was fake.
Yeah.
They're like-
are you sure?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a
I'm
part
sure
of-
the parents
yeah,
put
yeah.
But
him
how
up
would they?
to
How
it.
would they
Come
know?
on.
How would you know that they robbed the place?
They have a bag
A 12-year-old
with a
with a
Wells
bag.
Fargo stamp on the side of it
Full
and
of
a bunch of fake
full of
cash.
fake money.
Where did you get this?
They probably tried to spend it, and they're like, "Oh, what? I got to talk to my son about not getting the real,
I don't know. But if
I wanted hundreds, not 20s.
If my kid came home with a bag full of real cash, I'd be like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to turn you in.
Yeah, the parents only turn
Did you
them
make
in
this
'cause
on the TikTok today?
Turn them in as punishment for getting fake cash. Next time, do better.
Right.
Money's an illusion.
Speaking of money being fake, not being real, here's a video I found of the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors talking about the U.S. government not being able to go bankrupt.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
Is it?
They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to
screw us.
So, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So, I don't think there's anything confusing there.
You're right.
Nothing confusing.
I'm Joe Biden's husband.
It definitely prints money.
What?
Who is this guy? What was his title?
Chairman
He was the chairman
of Economic Advisors to Joe Biden.
Oh my God.
And not only, first of all, I don't know who the woman was, but she asks a great question.
A very simple and obvious question.
Maybe Ben knows, but why do we borrow money? Why do we borrow our own currency and pay an interest rate if we can just print it? Which is the same question of why do we pay taxes if we could just print it? And don't confuse me. I'm not advocating for the printing of money. I understand how inflation works. But the fact that this guy can't answer that question and hardly even knows what he's talking about.
That question was like a linebacker that just tackled him and he couldn't figure out where he was. That was a pretty impressive question.
Yeah. He was struggling to answer how bonds work.
Well, and the government issues bonds. It's their debt that, we're basically loaning them money, right? We're buying their bonds, U.S. treasuries. But the weird thing is we're buying it in U.S. dollars. So it's just a circular.
It's an illusion.
Ponzi scheme. That's kind of what I was saying. Yeah, it is.
The whole thing
truly
is
an illusion.
Ponzi scheme.
And
Max was right.
Yep.
Oh, it's so simple.
He's
There's
right.
nothing confusing about it. The paper dollars that we print are supposed to represent the physical wealth that we have in the bank.
All it represents
it's
now.
It's an IOU note.
Yeah,
it's an IOU note.
It's a voucher.
It's basically us guaranteeing that they can tax us into oblivion. That's the note that we're looking at that fiat currency is that, there's the government has power to tax enough from us to make that dollar valuable. But when money means nothing, when $100 is what it costs to buy a cheeseburger at McDonald's, what then?
Well, and along with that, speaking of cheeseburgers at McDonald's, say McDonald's has 100 cheeseburgers to sell, and they print out 100 coupons for a free cheeseburger. They run out of cheeseburgers.
Exactly.
And they run out of coupons. So what do? They print out more coupons. That's great, but they don't have any more cheeseburgers.
Exactly. You're getting to the heart of the matter. And this is why we're experiencing inflation at such a massive level is there's too many dollars chasing too few goods.
This is why Bill Gates is working on technology where we can print cheeseburgers.
Grass-fed.
They actually can. Yeah, it's called the Impossible
Bug-fed.
Burger. They
So what's
3D
funny-
print meat.
What's funny about you bringing up Max is the user who posted this. His name is Pollo Ponzi or Polo Ponzi. I don't know how you want it. POLLOPONZI.
Let's do a
Which
deep
is a
dive
pretty
on this,
similar
honestly.
name to Max's.
The Ponzi files
You know,
or
the
whatever.
Ponzi-
what were those?
Yeah,
Ponzi
whatever.
files.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's see. I got it
Yeah,
right
what does
here.
that say at the top? The
Not listed here. On the bottom, the Ponzi Papers.
Ponzi Papers.
Substack.
There you go.
Which we encourage you all to read if you haven't. We'll be getting back to that in a future segment.
Yeah, we'll be putting a lot of time and effort into researching those files.
Wow, I wonder whose Reddit this is. This guy's, the whole thing is filled with a whole bunch of things about currency and how Apple will implement the 110 billion share buyback and pay zero taxes on profits. Wow.
There's a lot we could get into on the economic side. Did you guys ever watch that movie that came out recently called Dumb Money? It was all about the GameStop stock.
Yeah, I watched that.
GameStop stock going up. That was a pretty good movie. But it gets to the heart of how everything is so rigged in many cases against the common man.
I got screwed on that
No,
one.
it's
Thanks to the Robinhood shutdown
that's what I'm saying.
situation, I lost a whole bunch of money.
I mean, I
bought
never
into
will single
GameStop?
stock trade, but yeah.
Yep. And I could have made some bucks, but you couldn't trade it.
Yep.
Yeah, Robinhood
couldn't sell.
just stopped allowing you to sell.
Yeah.
They did the same thing
And
with
buy. Didn't they stop?
Dogecoin.
And that shows you how imaginary
Actually,
that
they
is.
stopped allowing you to buy the stock. So the stock price was continually getting bid up because people were buying it, and it was making all the hedge fund owners lose billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Maybe I'm getting the Dogecoin.
So it basically was forcing
confused
people
with
to sell
GameStop.
GameStop stock and have it plummet. And anyways, it's a good movie. Check it out. It's like an actual movie with actors and it's not just a documentary.
What's funny is when you do it in a boardroom behind closed doors, it's okay and it's legal. But when you do it with poor people on the internet, it's a bad thing.
Yeah, when it's nurses and
Okay.
random people just buying it on their Robinhood app, but when it's the guys that have connections from Harvard and Yale and all their schools they went to.
It shows you who's pulling the strings. The rules are just made up.
Well, and
Ones don't
shame on
matter.
Robinhood to especially that's
absolutely.
pretty blasphemous to use the name Robinhood.
Well,
that's the whole
they
idea.
were connected to some of those big hedge funds in some shape or form.
Yeah, they were losing money too.
So they, they shot themselves in the foot. Anyways,
all those guys.
Speaking of, do you want me to get into my boomer rant? Would this be a good time to do that? Or do
Might
you have
as
more to
well.
say? I mean,
It's been one of those pissy, ranty days.
definitely. And, we were on the generations, a couple podcasts ago, we were at least talking about different generations in some shape or form. And it got me thinking with all this elite talk, with all the political garbage going on in the world, I brought up that video with Tim Dillon where he was joking about each generation. And I loved how the boomers, he was mentioning, they just won't let go of power. They're the most selfish generation. And, this isn't to knock all boomers. Obviously, I love people who are of the baby boomer generation
come on, Ben.
too.
Tell us what you hate about old people.
But the thing I got thinking today is we were talking a little bit about this before the show, how there's basically a uniparty. And I was at the zoo today, and when you're at a free zoo or anything free that's somewhat government based, you're going to see a little bit of propaganda here or there, to say the least.
Are you telling me you didn't donate on your way in?
I think we gave like $2, but anyways, all that said, actually the zoo is not that bad, but they did have one thing I had to actually look around a little bit for on climate change, which got me thinking to this whole the uniparty piece of that, which is, whether you're on the right or on the left, you should desire to have clean water, good sources of food, healthy air, healthy oceans. All this stuff shouldn't be controversial. But they've made it into two binary choices that are both garbage. You've either got, no pun intended, but you've got let's just destroy the planet, keep producing things at the same rate. Let's make everything plastic because it's cheap and it's going to go into our water now. It's going to create problems with our health. We're going to die from cancer. There's that side of it. Then there's the other side of it where this is an existential crisis. We're all going to die. And we need to give the government all of our money now.
Yeah, and the only fix for it isn't something that's technology-based. It's not something that's innovative. It's just more tax.
Well, and my point being is both of them are winning. You got, the lobbyists on both sides. But the connection point between the left and the right that I think is coming together with millennials is that we understand what we're putting in our body and how the impact is starting to have on us. So then we're starting to see this homesteading trend really blow up a little bit more than it ever has in generations before us. We're not putting things on our lawn like fertilizers that are going to poison us, and we're trying to be very mindful of what we're feeding ourselves and our children. And I've got a video from the one and only Gavin McInnes talking about the top 10 reasons that boomers are the worst generation. I thought we could riff on this a bit, and this may get us into other ideas. But I just find it interesting to see. This should give us some humor and also some vision as to why we are in the position we're in today. So let me share that with you guys.
Please welcome Gavin McInnes.
It's great to finally meet you, Gavin. We've been wanting to have you on forever.
Hello, my name is Gavin. I come from a generation called Generation X, and I like to bitch and moan about millennials because they like to bitch and moan. However, I think it's important to focus today on the worst generation, the baby boomers. If you were born between 46 and I believe 64, you were part of that massive surge of a rebirth that happened after World War II, and you are very likely a dink. I like a lot of baby boomers. My parents are very cool, but my parents hate baby boomers. In fact, they're the ones who got me thinking about this horrible, vile, disgusting, selfish, overindulgent, immature, retarded generation. Here are 10 reasons why baby boomers are, as Paul Begala pointed out, the worst. Number one, what the hell are their jobs? They're all consultants. Every time you ask a baby boomer what you do, or what they do, sorry, they go, oh, I'm a consultant. And then they have this, you go, what does that mean? And they always have this really patronizing definition where they go, well, a group of people are trying to make something, and then I talk to the manufacturer, and I help them sort of facilitate the deal.
Seriously.
Oh, so you're an irrelevant middleman?
And they make a
unless
killing,
you're
too.
a translator, we don't need you to tell the manufacturer how to make the thing the guy wants to. What are you doing there? Hi, Barb. This is Andy. He's going to be making your grapple grummets. Go have at it, guys. Oh, they want to pay less. Okay. Your job doesn't exist. Most of your careers are fake careers. I don't understand why you get paid. Number two, they can't use cutlery. Now, I think this is because they grew up with people from the Great Depression, people who were starving to death, so they would just grab food. Like if a baby, you never said to a baby during the Great Depression, eat your food. If the baby didn't want it, you go, thank God, and you would eat it. So they made the baby boomers food idiots. And when you see them eat, this is how you eat. I'm not a snob. You don't have to have, your soup spoon here and your teaspoon there or whatever, but this is how you eat. You put your thing in the back of the fork, you go like that, and you eat like that. It's a very efficient way. Even if it's rice, you can pile it up with the fork. They don't know how to use a fork and a knife. They act like some fresh off the boat Chinese guy who's just put down his chopsticks for the first time. And you'll see them, you look over when you're eating, and they're always going like this with the steak, like they're trying to murder it or something. What the fuck are they doing? At the very best, they'll make their fork like a spoon and sort of scoop food, and then they're always like, they're animals. Number three, they ruined education. You know these social justice warriors that you see talking all this bullshit about feminism and triggering? That goes back to the 60s. You see, all this cultural Marxism and what the hell is it called? Postmodern critical theory, all that stuff comes from hippies. The hippies couldn't get jobs, so they ended up teaching kids, and then they started shaping education, and they made this fake education with fake words. I mean, you got to read a college paper or read any academic's latest book, and it's written in a new magical language that the baby baby boomers invented. You know, when they went to school, it was the greatest generation, right? The World War II types. Even if you went to art school, as Dan Klaus pointed out in Art School Confidential, if you went to art school, you'd know how to do like the cover of a Harlequin Romance or something. You learned the basics. Even art school was hard, and you left with a trade. Today, art school, you put a tampon in a teacup. You put a tampon in a teacup. Sorry, you get $60,000 of debt, and it's totally impossible to employ you because you actually know less than when you went in. Thanks for that, boomers. They also invented feminism. That's number 4. The old feminists, the greatest generation feminists, they fought for the right to work. The new feminists, the baby boomers, invented this thing where women are men, where Sally Fields is smoking a cigar and Burt Reynolds is doing knitting. That's the reason that we have to watch all these movies where, as Nick DiPaolo said, he goes, I don't know if I can watch Angelina Jolie beat the crap out of 6 Navy SEALs again. I mean, my suspension of disbelief just can't take it anymore. And by the way, you made women miserable with all this fake made-up women or men crap. You told them that being in the kitchen and breeding makes them losers. So now they're in here with us going, what am I doing here? Thanks, bitches.
They're literally.
Number 5, we stopped a war, man. We stopped a war. First of all, almost none of you were hippies. There's this assumption that all the baby boomers were hippies. I'm going to say barely 5% were hippies. And Nixon was not tuned in to what you guys were saying about him. He hated hippies. If anything, he would do something just to spite you. You didn't end the war, okay? The media ended the war. We hadn't seen those kind of images telecast live before. We'd have never seen teenagers come back in coffins on our home TV. The media ended the war. And by the way, you were the ones who were calling them baby killers when they came back from the war. You are pretending you had the soldiers' backs. You were the first generation ever to shit on war vets. Number 6, they invented the self. The whole concept of self. Are you happy? Yeah, I divorced my wife. I just wasn't happy. Yeah, I had to quit my job. I wasn't happy. The greatest generation never talked about that. You'd say, how are you doing to a man working the docks in the 1930s? And he'd say, what? I don't know. His whole existence was predicated on, is his wife happy? Are his kids fed? He never talked about himself. He didn't take Xanax to go to sleep at night. He didn't have a therapist. He never thought about himself. He just got out of bed, went to work, came home, read the paper. Self is a baby boomer construct, and it has ruined Western civilization because it spawned the me generation. Number 7, and I alluded to this earlier, they invented divorce. I remember my parents stayed together, but I remember having all these dads sleep on my couch when I was a kid. And I remember even as a 10-year-old in 1980 going, this seems like a really doomed experiment. And you'd see these miserable guys. They always stank up the couch, by the way, with that weird dad smell. You know, they'd have like polyester slacks on and brown socks, and they'd have on those white shirts with the short sleeves, and they had like B.O., beer, pee kind of a smell, and it would be on your couch after this dad smell. And then they would always inevitably, after ruining the family and traumatizing the kids, they'd end up marrying a chick who looks just like the chick that they dumped. Because they're stupid, self-indulgent babies that didn't get fellatio enough and thought it was a good reason to end everyone's life. Number 8. They eat shitty food. They don't know anything about food. You think they eat bad with the cutlery? Look at what they make. You go to some baby boomer's house, which, by the way, is a gigantic mansion he bought for $50,000 that is now worth $4 million. And I'd love to go off at a tangent on how they started this whole real estate crisis and made things like you buy a $350,000 house, and by the time you're done paying it off, you've paid $780,000. That's them too, but that's a whole other video I'll get to another day. It's very easy to prove they ruined education, and it's even easier to prove that they don't know anything about food. Like, you'll go to this massive mansion, right? And, oh, it's a Kentucky Derby party, and everyone's dressed all fancy, and ooh, la-di-da, this is a nice place. And then you go, I'm going to get something to eat. There's a giant tray with just these huge buns this big, 98% bun, with tons and tons and tons of butter, and then a piece of bologna. Like we're in jail or something at a bread factory. And you just go, I don't want this. Can you even toast it or something? I mean, I don't want to sound like Little Lord Fauntleroy, but eating a giant bun with a piece of bologna is what we do as convicts, so they don't return to the tombs. That's the jails in Manhattan.
This was from 2016.
They don't know anything about food because their parents are from the Great Depression. But, you know, I grew up middle class. I figured out food. And I didn't go to a culinary school. Look it up. Number 9. I don't understand this, baby boomers, but why can you not load the dishwasher? Speaking of, again, I never went to dishwasher school. I never took a night course. It's intuitive, right? There's all these shelves that go like that. You put the plate at an angle. There's jets down there. But no, that wastes too much electricity. No, it doesn't. You have the hot water running, okay? That's more electricity. The way a dishwasher works is it heats up the water, the same water, and then it uses that same water to spray it at your plates. It's a brilliant invention that is way more efficient than you with that gross old wet rag. By the way, moms, when you wipe your kid's face with that rag, you're just wiping garbage smell all over our face. And they have that cold little Tupperware thing that plates sit in for hours, and then they sit there leaning over the sink, washing them, thinking they're saving thousands of dollars. At the very best, it's on par with the price of washing dishes in a dishwasher. But it is very likely that it's way more expensive. Just figure it out, okay? Look at where the jets are, load the dishwasher. And by the way, the cutlery points up, not down. When you put the cutlery down in that cage, the jets don't get to it. What do people do when they want to see a shark? They go in a cage because the shark can't get to them. The jets can't get to this. They can only get to this. Number 10. They preach diversity, but they don't practice it. Now, if there's one thing that really burns one's ass about being preached to, it's when the person is throwing those stones from a glass house. You talk about multiculturalism, you live in an all-white area, you send your kids to all-white schools, but you tell the rest of us we need to be more diverse. We're plenty diverse, thanks, okay? Don't tell us how to live our lives. And if you're going to preach something, maybe try it just once. Do you understand what you've done here, baby boomers? Your invention of divorce has traumatized my generation. Almost none of my friends have kids. I looked them up on Facebook. I don't care if we're talking city, urban, rural, suburban. None of them have kids. You know why? Because you traumatized them with your stupid divorce. You also encumbered them with debt by giving them these stupid fake educations that cost an arm and a leg. You know, when I went to school, I could pay for it myself because it was $1,700 a year. Now in New York, you're lucky to pay 40 grand a year. They're all 160 to 100 grand in debt for a fake education that you created. You've hamstrung them. And oh, by the way, your open borders crap has made them unable to work. You killed their economic libido. So they're sitting on the couch and all they know how to do is eat. That's child abuse. Your entire generation should be indicted for child abuse. And that is why the baby boomers are the worst generation ever.
Oh man, I could not agree with him more. I could not possibly agree with him more.
I don't think we even have anything to add to that.
It's hard to add.
I'm curious your guys' thoughts though, and how does this factor into either the left and the right?
The consultant
boomers?
Thing just sends me.
That was just
I cannot tell you how many clients I have that are millionaires and they're consultants.
It's all inherited.
And then when you ask them what they do, it's exactly what he said.
They can hardly describe it.
They keep, because they don't do anything.
Right.
They have to justify their job, right? They can't have you leaving the conversation thinking that they don't do anything.
They have to make you feel like they earned it when really they got that job. They invented that position for themselves before there were ever any qualifications needed.
Right. So you introduce one party to the other party. Well, no. I do much. I
create a PowerPoint too.
I do much more than that. It's much more complicated than that. Well, once Bob, who owns let's just say the wind turbines, and he meets Greg, who owns the land, why do they need you as the consultant? They can just talk about putting his wind turbines on his land and be done with the whole thing.
And these consultants, in my experience, are making like a minimum of 150 grand a year.
Here's what I find funny is I feel like the baby boomers have designed jobs in a certain way to steal from their own children.
They have. Like, that's a great point.
You need a consultant for that, or you need an attorney for that, or no. See, you're a child. You need an expert for that. You know, and I feel that
it's the gatekeeping community. It's a
absolutely
gatekeeping economy, really.
Absolutely,
and that is definitely, like, you just look in the world of finance. You should not need 5 to 6 different professionals to complete your financial picture, but you really do. in terms of like getting your estate planning done.
Because
you need
of the
a lawyer.
fences that have been set up.
you need the tax code is unnecessarily complicated. You need a financial planner. You need an insurance person, and it is what it is. I mean, we've all benefited from that, from some of our careers here in this room. But
I'll be the first person to tell you, I think my entire career is a joke.
Fair enough, but. My point being is this consultant job. I wonder if because there were so many boomers initially, they needed to create jobs.
Yes.
And there was so much wealth that was abundant in the early stages. They're like, let's just scoop this all up. And what it feels like now is, to your point, when we were talking about this earlier, the house is burning. We know that inflation's rampant, and they've got no desire to pass on the greatest wealth ever earned to the next generation. Like, people should be dying, moving on to positions and passing it on strategically.
No one in
they're
the baby
passing it on
boomer,
to their own families, though.
But they're
All
not.
Their kids
Are they?
trust
They're
fund
not.
Kids.
The point, though,
not,
is that
not
I
their
don't
kids'
think they
generations, but to their own families. This is family wealth. It's all
not getting
inherited.
passed on until the boomer croaks.
Yeah.
And then it's some twisted, if they even got around to it, trust or will. What they should be doing is, by the time that boomer is in their 50s, their kids are old enough to be working and running the business, and they should be looking to instill and pass that business on.
That's the way
Instead,
the trust funds
I can
are
speak
supposed to
exactly
be
from
working.
experience. These boomers are just as clueless in their pointless jobs, and once their kids come along, they're starting to realize, not only do I not have anything to teach my kids, but I don't want to give up any of this money coming in.
The emperor has no clothes, you mean? Like,
yes.
You get to that point and they realize, oh my God, I got really lucky. I made a lot of money doing not a lot to earn it. And so now I got to come up with how hard this is, and I need to complain that they're not working hard enough. They're not staying here long enough. When the younger generations, there's a lot to criticize about us millennials and even Gen Z and whatever. But what's been happening is we're figuring out, what's the point of all this? So is there purpose behind what we're trying to figure out in this world? Are we really gaining purpose from pointless jobs, or should we be growing our own food? Should we be figuring out how to be, more efficient, take care of other elements of our lives besides burning out at a job? The thing that bothers me most with the boomer generation is the mindset that you basically need to fake it till you make it in everything. So you're working 8 hours pointlessly. Like, I got all my work done in 4, but we're going to stay 8. And most of the time we're going to screw off. We're going to do, pointless tasks. We're going to clean up email. Nothing there is efficient work. And it makes your task, your workforce resentful.
Well, but it makes the boomer feel better, because for the entire 8 hours, you got asses rotting in seats.
Yeah, and your body is deteriorating as you're sitting there when you could be outside, doing something to benefit your life, getting good vitamin D. I mean, I guess when we look at how COVID was handled, that was handled primarily from the boomer generation on down. Every bit of advice we were getting, for the most part, was coming from ancient people, from Anthony Fauci.
Excellent point.
Everything they told us was wrong. Like, literally everything. They were going out and putting people who were surfing at the beach, just riding around on paddleboards. They were going on and putting them in jail.
Yeah,
because there was something dangerous going on with this quote unquote virus.
That is a pretty good point you bring up. That they've been wrong literally about almost everything. Think about something as simple as medical advice.
It's the weatherman. It's like the weatherman job.
Or it's basic things that they should be aware of in their professions. And it just points out that they don't know shit about their own profession.
And they're advancing themselves as they do it. And there's no desire to pass that wealth on. Back in the day, what was it, in 2008 or something, the Occupy Wall Street protests were going on. At the time, I'm thinking, this is kind of dumb. Like, everything we're using comes from billionaires, our Apple iPhones and all this. But then you start thinking about how much wealth has really been hoarded. And every time we've had an economic event of significant magnitude, more money goes to the top, more people on the bottom grow and get pushed out of the middle class. I mean, this definitely happened in 2020.
And then we're told that it's acceptable by the people who aren't affected by it whatsoever.
Right. We're not helping small businesses. We're not helping people who want to be independent, self-sufficient. We're trying to just grow a bigger dependence on the government. And even the conservative boomers don't really care. I mean, maybe I'm not going to, again, lump everyone in there, but generationally, they don't even care because, hey, I've got all this wealth. I've got my second house in Florida. I've got my mini yacht or my major yacht. And you guys will worry about it when I'm gone. I mean,
right. Oh, and then that's what Benjamin Owen points out. He points out two things is that not only did the boomers invent, what's that?
Was it Owen? Owen, isn't it Owen Benjamin?
What did I say? Benjamin Owen?
It doesn't really matter.
Owen Benjamin.
He's got two first names. It doesn't matter.
I'm Lex Dislick, okay? I just got him switched around.
Boomers, this is why you don't give your kids two first names.
Yeah, what is that? Is that in Talladega Nights where he's like, he makes the comment, you know, you watch out for anybody with two first names.
Yeah.
Anyways, Owen Benjamin talks, he brings up 2 points. Credit scores never existed until what, the 80s?
1989.
1989.
When they were officially reported as like a tool to use across the board.
Thanks, boomers. Okay, there's number one. Number two is the boomers basically designed and lived their lives off of credit, passing down all of that debt.
Right.
How much money has gone to needless interest? And again, like you pointed out, for you to have your multiple vacations, for you to have your second home. Meanwhile, how many of us can't afford one home because you've destroyed the real estate market with your 2 to 3 homes? And your businesses that you refuse to pass down or train people in, you're too worried about being at the top, trying to find somebody to still work for $12 an hour when the new minimum wage, thanks to the inflation that your generation has also caused, is $22 an hour. Mm-hmm. But you think there's a mythical person out there that's going to work for $12 an hour and going to work twice as hard and just because they want it more. No, what I'm excited for is I'm excited for AI to come in here and wipe out all of these people's careers. And unfortunately, most of them are already at the age where it won't matter. They've already made their money.
Yeah.
But so many of these careers, just like Gavin was talking about, these consultants and these worthless, made up paper pushers that take info from the left hand and put it in the right, and they call it a career, is just mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how we've made it all this time with everybody pretending that there's a value here. There's a value add.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And it seems to me like so much of the money made at the top in banking and everything else is done through means that are essentially like churning. You know what I mean? Like in an insurance world, you're churning a policy, you keep selling someone a policy that they don't need year after year to get a commission on it. That essentially seems to be the model of a lot of these useless jobs is let's just, instead of providing actual value and not wasting people's money or time, let's just get what's mine and keep it moving. And there's no thought about, and that kind of got me to that point on the climate change issue is one of the other criticisms, not necessarily from the conservative side of the aisle, is that they've ruined the planet. Well, I think that may be a bit of an over assumption. I don't personally think the planet's too far gone. It's a very resilient planet.
Right.
But there is an element of truth in that you look at for example, you really can't recycle plastic. And they pushed the agenda that you could recycle all your plastics. We don't have.
Hold on that point, just to show that boomers were the ones who ruined it. What did we use before plastic?
I assume glass, which is sand,
actually
basically
recyclable. It's reusable, and it's healthier for you. You're not ingesting these forever chemicals. But what did boomers do? They inherited their parents' businesses or whatever, manufacturing, milk delivery. That always came in milk jars, and then they would pick them up and repurpose them and so on and so forth.
They still do that in other countries, by the way.
Well, and so
and all
the
that
boomers
to be
took
said,
over it, and hey, you know how we can make a bigger margin? Put everything in plastic.
Yep.
Lighter weight, cheaper than the glass. They don't break. You're not stopping to clean it up.
They don't make that clanking noise.
Poison the next generation and poison the earth because we can make an extra buck.
Yep. And obviously it's hard to deny that plastic was...
You have stolen my dreams.
I mean, it's a life-changing material in a lot of ways. A lot of, you can't go anywhere and not see it, but...
This is all wrong.
in the same way, to have that in food is really criminal now that we're figuring out these little microplastics are baked into everything. You eat about a credit card a month in plastic if you're just having the standard American diet as a practice.
Is that right?
You do.
Yep.
No way. I'm not kidding you.
I thought I heard it was a year, about a credit card of plastic a year. But
year or
a
month, it's still
be
disgusting. But that said, I mean,
it depends on how many slices of American cheese.
Imagine what that's doing to your body and
American cheese product. Because there's not enough real cheese in it for it to actually be called cheese,
right.
which is amazing to me that we even had that conversation at one point.
Let's figure this out.
What's the legal limit of cheese to not cheese in a product that's supposed to be cheese?
And it's so corrupt. I mean, think about when we were in the 90s as kids. And you think of all those snacks we wanted to eat.
Oh, the Lunchables?
The Lunchables. You got these Kool-Aids. You got those Kraft singles you're talking about. Think about just all that fake stuff. It looked like goo you're eating. You know, it looked like you watch Nickelodeon, and what you're watching with all that slime and color, that's what your food is looking like, you know. And the boomers were the ones creating it and feeding it to us kids.
And the kids were the ones wanting it. And it's so wild. Have you guys...
And where are we as millennial parents now? We've completely tried to flip it.
And do you know why? I think part of it is, have you recently looked back at any 90s or early 2000s commercials?
Yeah.
The commercials that we used to watch, same ones that I saw on TV. And I'm like, that looks disgusting. I can't believe that was ever attractive to my eye.
How was that ever real food? Like, and why does real food cost so much? Like 2 ingredients cost more than 20 to 35.
Here's an interesting thing to tie it back to the food, because I really want to bring this back to eggs. What's amazing to me is how many questions and how curious and inquisitive our generation is. I don't ever remember my parents questioning anything.
No.
The doctor said it. It's great. It's at the grocery store. It's great. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There was no curious nature about anything.
There was a turning point with my parents, I think.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now they're very, very conscious of that, and they have been for many years. When I was a younger kid, I don't think it was as big of a concern, like you're saying. But I'm glad that they flipped.
What's interesting is
I think there's ignorance too to the average Joe back then. They're not. Mm-hmm. I mean, that information the internet wasn't really popular at that time, or it was just gaining its momentum. So I don't think that everybody had that information readily available.
But even a boomer in their 60s right now
doesn't.
Right. I mean,
Speaking of which, I'm going to pull up some comments that I found on that video we just watched. They're
hold on,
pretty telling.
The 60s are you're still pliable enough in your 60s to be able to understand data and stats and the internet. Like, there's no excuse for not learning something new in your 60s. Mm-hmm. And what's amazing to me is how many boomers can be presented with new knowledge and still deny it. And eggs is a big one for me. Growing up, you always heard, egg whites, that's what you need to eat. Ditch the yolk. It's a big cholesterol thing. Right. Now we're finding eggs are actually the solution to high cholesterol, number one. Right. And number two, egg in and of itself is a superfood. It's an absolute superfood, to the point where they've done studies between kids who had at least 1 egg a day versus kids who had no eggs and were given whatever, cereal or oatmeal or whatever else. The kids who had the egg had a higher IQ because it's brain food. It's the perfect little package of protein, healthy fats, omegas, you name it. And how long did
there's a lot of types of eggs you can buy too.
The boomers, hey, you gotta cut out eggs. You gotta cut out red meat.
Or have egg whites.
Right. Which
is the least
nutritious. You got to go on a low-fat diet.
Know what they're talking about.
And the low-fat diet, what does it do? It compounds the heart problems they're already having.
Sugar
because it removes the fat that's good for you, and it adds in, like what you just said, sugars, artificial sweeteners, everything that's giving you the heart problems to begin with. And now you just double down. The boomers are the generation that single-handedly gave us heart disease. That's what they've done.
It's factual.
Speaking of which, some of this can seem kind of out in the ether sometimes. I mean, we've all come across these boomers, but I like to look in the comments to see what the boomers responded. in terms of this video.
Real quick, before we leave this topic, I just want to point out how many things are millennials implementing now. Glass. You see a lot of millennials ditching plastic, going back to glass, consuming whole eggs, consuming more meat, more red meat, more organic, more grass-fed.
Non-GMO.
How many of the things are we doing right now that we're implementing right now that our boomer parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents were already doing?
Right. We're just going back to where
we're just going back to before our parents.
Well, and we're trying to do things to really help our children. And it's weird to me that didn't click with the boomers like it did for us. Like it's almost amazing to me the thought process we go through in terms of what are we going to put inside our kids' body. And we have a lot of information coming at us that is maybe fear porn to an extent. But because I think we're more resilient sometimes than we think. We think, oh, if the human body doesn't get 8 hours of sleep every night, you're going to die. Blah,
sure.
blah. But
I think part of it back then was, innovation and propaganda, like the invention of the microwave and how
everything
easy and convenient that made everything. Everything was for convenience. Mass produce everything.
I've got a ton of weeds in my yard right now, and I'm like, I refuse to put Roundup down on my yard because I know what that crap can do. And my kids are going to go sit in the yard and sucks, but it's better to have our health and our happiness.
Spend 2 hours plucking the weeds like we did when we were
what's
kids.
amazing is, have you seen the stuff about dandelions?
I have a lot of dandelions in my yard right now.
Collect them.
Apparently, dandelions are supposed to be like the number 1 heart medication.
Yeah.
I've heard
and
that.
Since you haven't
Although
sprayed,
I don't necessarily want to eat them.
No, you should though. And since you know that you haven't sprayed,
have you never eaten them?
No, a hippie. I eat red meat.
Oh, dude.
Did you ever eat salad?
Did you ever go to like the nature center where we'd make like dandelion pancakes and stuff?
Yep. You can make dandelion tea. You can make dandelion mead, which is wine.
Sure.
You can make wine out of dandelions.
I'm going to cut them up tomorrow and it's going to rain tomorrow. Yeah. Anyways, but that's a great reminder. Makes me feel better about the dandelions overgrowing my yard right now.
So the conspiracy behind that is Monsanto, the same company that makes Roundup to get rid of dandelions, is the same company that owns like companies like Bayer that make heart medication and stuff like that.
That's sketch.
So here they are developing a product that causes cancer, causes lymphoma, causes all this nasty things, and the product itself gets rid of what's supposedly an excellent all natural medication for your heart. So great heart health support. Meanwhile, while they're extinguishing that and causing cancer, they have another product on the opposite end of the line that you're supposed to take when you start having heart problems. So
convenient.
Yeah. Bayer aspirin.
Selling the problem and the solution, just like the student loan issue.
Yep.
They created it. The government created it. The boomers created it.
Yep.
Who's selling us the solution of loan forgiveness to get votes? Another boomer.
Another boomer.
Going for re-election.
Right.
I can't remember his own name or his wife.
I'm Joe Biden's husband.
I don't know. So sometimes you got to get into the internet to really see the reaction from the boomer side because they're online. They are. You might not think that they know how to use a computer.
It's an act. They act
but I thought
like
this
they don't know how
comment
to
was,
use the internets.
This comment was from 4 days ago. Again, this video we just watched was from 2016, and to just see the acceleration of culture in this last 8 years of time, none of that has been corrected. This person said, boomers had the best education, morals, and economy. The new generation has proven to be stupid over and over again with endless war, rampant crime. I'm sorry, this is so ironic, and so much more to destroy our country. Nothing is better now with the poor decisions made by the newer generations. Boomers are the best and will clean up the mess made by the newer generations.
This is how you know this is written by an idiot boomer.
He literally created
Earth
that.
to Karen. Who raised the generation you're bitching about right
exactly.
now? You did. So if the boomers had the most wealth, the best education, the best morals, how did the best person raise, according to you, the shittiest individual?
And which generation is writing our policies right now? Which generation is falling asleep in the seats at Congress?
Amen.
Yep. There's no critical thinking among the boomers. There you go. And this person proved it.
Well, it's the self. They invented the self, like he said, and they have proven to be successfully the most self-centered generation. So anything you're seeing where people are talking about self-care or self-help, or I mean, self-help is a whole genre that was created by boomers. But you think about all that and the hyper awareness of yourself, your emotions and everything. Well, that came from them. It didn't come from our grandparents. You know what I mean?
Right.
Our grandparents, probably to a fault, didn't ever think about themselves. But that's where we're trying to correct it as we go along. And I don't think the millennials got it right, but maybe we'll see that in our kids and future generations.
I think it's interesting. There are a handful of old soul millennials.
Yeah,
and I think
one of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if I go out on a limb, I think all three of us are of that type. But yeah, man, the whole thing's depressing.
Why'd we have to
It's
turn?
all wrong.
Why'd we have to turn dark again? We were trying to get happier and
I was
on a
trying
happy
to be
note.
funny. I mean,
It's still funny.
They're gonna be dead soon. All right,
there we go. There we go.
That's not dark. Sorry, guys. Well, that's kind of what the Owen Benjamin rant was. They're all going to die soon, and then we're going to kind of be free, which is a false belief that things are going to get better. I mean, we're in a sinful world, but
I don't know. I don't
there's
feel
good
very
things.
free.
There's good things.
There's good things. There's McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's. They call it a Happy Meal, so that must be good.
I'm going to get one on my way home. I'm going to get happy. I'm going to consume.
Don't do it.
As long as you get a toy.
As long as I get a toy.
What you do with that at home is your own business.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, I suppose that's all we got, huh?
Is anybody still awake?
Close her out.
All our listeners.
All the boomers fell asleep 25 minutes ago. So
probably. Hopefully they're in the comment section. We need this algorithm to get boosted.
If you're a boomer, let us know what you think about your own generation. I wouldn't mind showcasing that.
We don't hate all boomers, and we know that these points don't apply to each one of you.
Yeah, we love a lot of boomers.
Speak for yourself, man. I hate all boomers.
If you're a boomer, specifically one that hates what we're talking about, please give us a message. Drop us a like and a comment or a dislike, and maybe we'll have you on the show. Maybe you can defend yourself.
If you're a boomer and you're listening to this and you would like to leave a comment, go grab your son or your daughter, bring them on in here, have them show you how to leave a comment. That was my joke.
If you're a boomer and you take any of this personally, that's a sign that you need to do some self-reflecting.
You might be a redneck if you do,
Yeah,
you might be a boomer.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's a good line for you might be a boomer? We got to work on a couple of those.
If you get paid $150,000 a year and still need help opening a PDF file, you might be a boomer.
There you go. If consultant is anywhere in your job title, you might be a boomer.
Did you learn to code yet?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Me neither. It's okay.
All right. Well, hey, we want to thank you for visiting us in the flyover states. Thank you. Sincerely, thanks for listening. We enjoy doing this, and we're going to keep doing it even if you don't like it. Come check out more at themidwestsense.com. You can catch us on YouTube and Rumble and Apple Podcasts now and Spotify. Shoot us a message if you'd like to join the conversation. The Midwest has room for you too. Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. Drive safe. Same time next week?
Same time next week. Watch for deer, everyone.
Watch for deer. Take care.